165 passengers and crew on board was making its way back to the terminal when smoke rose from an engine on the right side of the plane. An NHK employee happened to be on the plane. He took footage of the evacuation. He says he briefly saw smoke rising from the back of the engine. This woman says as soon as she realized it was an emergency, she and her friend escaped, leaving their belongings behind. Let's take a close look at what happened. Good evening, this is News Watch 9 for Tuesday, February 23rd. A plane at Chitose Airport in Hokkaido was prevented from taking off after smoke rose from one of its engines. All 165 passengers and crew on board evacuated in about 17 minutes.
It snowed all day at Chitose Airport near Sapporo. The runway was closed on and off. The trouble occurred with Japan Airlines Flight 3512 bound for Fukuoka. The airliner is a Boeing 737. It left the terminal at 2:34 p.m. and headed for the runway. But as the weather deteriorated, the jet couldn't take off as scheduled. As it was returning to the terminal, smoke billowed out of the right engine. It was about 3:10 p.m. The smoke entered the cabin, forcing the 165 people on board to evacuate using emergency slides. This footage was taken by an NHK employee. He had a window seat on the left side of the plane. He says everyone was calm. It was snowing outside once they got out. People had left their coats on the plane. This passenger says the pilot instructed the passengers to make an emergency evacuation. She says she had to muster her courage to jump out. Local fire officials say 3 women in their 60s and 70s are being treated for neck and lower back pain. Another man...
私たち今6年前から東京出てきて、で久しぶりに実家帰った時に実家の電気がつかなくて、あれと思って、でお母さんに、電気つかないんだけどって言ったら、まあこういう経緯で会社が倒れちゃって、ですごくもうお金が厳しいっていう現状を当時は。
He says when oil evaporates, it causes a burning smell as well as smoke. He says this is likely the cause. Higuchi commented on the pilot who had the passengers evacuate. He says the scariest scenario imaginable is an outbreak of fire and smoke. Fire spreads quite suddenly, and he believes the decision to move passengers to safety was correct. Japan Airlines released a statement saying it's truly sorry for causing trouble and anxiety to its passengers. The airliner is looking into the cause of the accident. Both the Transport Ministry and the airport say the accident didn't prompt authorities to close down the runway, but many flights have been canceled or are arriving or departing later than scheduled as work to remove the snow continues. Also, 4 Transport Safety Board officials will be dispatched to the airport tonight to determine the cause of the smoke.
We hear people behaved very calmly, and we are relieved to know that it didn't cause a serious accident. We want to know what caused the trouble, but watching passengers evacuate, I thought that I have to prepare myself for emergency. So I have to listen to instructions on emergency evacuation more carefully.
Two Japanese opposition parties have agreed to merge to better cooperate in this summer's upper house elections. The Democratic Party is planning to change its name, and lawmakers from the Japan Innovation Party have agreed to join it. Japan Innovation Party leader Yorihisa Matsuno spoke at a party executive meeting today. He says he spoke last night with Democratic Party President Katsuya Okada. He asks executives to discuss a proposal for their party to reform itself under a new name. He says he hopes the new party will press ahead to achieve a change of government. The Japan Innovation Party has been exploring a possible merger with the Democrats ahead of the upper house election this summer. Party executives have basically agreed to join the Democratic Party if the Democrats agree to changes in the party name, among other things. Japan Innovation Party Secretary General Masato Imai says party lawmakers have largely agreed to the proposal. He says party lawmakers of both houses will make a formal decision at an extraordinary executive meeting tomorrow. Democratic Party President Okada, Secretary General Edano, and other party executives also met today. They confirmed their common view that priority should be given to competing against the ruling Liberal Democratic Party and its junior coalition partner Komeito. Okada said he hopes to form the new party by the end of March. They'll convene an executive meeting tomorrow and start taking all necessary steps to close the deal. The two leaders made a breakthrough at their meeting last night toward achieving a successful merger. Okada and Matsuno agreed that a new party will keep the DPJ's organization, but will get a new name and platform. The Japan Innovation Party will disband, and its lawmakers have agreed to join the new party. If the deal goes through, the new party would have 93 legislators in the lower house. They include lower house Deputy Speaker Tatsuo Kawabata, who's in the process of leaving a voting group. Democratic Party Policy Chief Goshi Hosono says he believes party leader Okada has made a very crucial decision. He says what they're going to gain by making a fresh start probably outweighs what they have defended thus far. He says they'll be able to present voters with a viable alternative to Prime Minister Shinzo Abe and the LDP. But veteran Democratic Party legislators are cautious about changing the party name. Some within the Japan Innovation Party, including former leader Kenji Eda, are demanding that both parties be disbanded to create a new party. However, 5 party lawmakers will not be able to join the new party. They were elected on the former Your Party ticket in the proportional representation portion of the upper house election. Executives of both parties say they'll tread carefully. Let's hear from the ruling camp. LDP Secretary General Sadakazu Tanigaki says a party without a clear shared goal or identity has to be described as an immature party. He stressed that if the union is simply for the sake of an election, it's merely a marriage of convenience. Komeito leader Natsuo Yamaguchi notes that some Japan Innovation Party members used to be in the Democratic Party. He says that they're just returning to their former party. His party will view them as an extension of the Democratic Party. Meanwhile, the Democratic, the Innovation, the Japan Communist, and 2 other opposition parties have been seeking cooperation ahead of the election. Senior officials of the 5 parties met today. The Japan Communist Party had given up fielding a candidate in many single-seat constituencies to support unified opposition candidates. The officials have agreed to pick common candidates primarily for the nation's 32 single-seat constituencies. Democratic Party Secretary General Edano says the Communist Party's bold decision deserves their respect and gratitude. He says unified candidates should be picked during consultations between two parties or in other formats. Yoshiki Yamashita is the chief of the Communist Party Secretariat. He says all the parties have largely agreed to pick unified candidates for single-seat districts first and foremost. He says he'll accelerate the process by coordinating with the Democrats and other parties. Ichiro Ozawa is the president of the People's Life Party and Taro Yamamoto and Friends. He says he hopes to see a convergence of opposition forces through the move by the Communists and the proposed merger between the Democrats